One of the keys to running a successful business is not only identifying your ideal customers, but being able to actually communicate with them effectively. Speaking their language, you might say. Well, today's guest is going to tell you how to do just that, and how to transition your business from being customer service oriented to being customer centric. Don't go anywhere. Today's guest is going to change the way you communicate with current clients and potential prospects.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy.
Today's guest is Jeffrey Shaw, the Lingo Guy, author of upcoming book, Lingo, Discover Your Ideal Customer Secret Language and Make Your Business Irresistible. In addition to his new book, Jeff also hosts the Creative Warriors podcast and is a featured speaker on the Moth. Jeff has also appeared on the Oprah Show, in O Magazine, in People Magazine, and in New York Family Magazine. If you want to hone in on your company's ideal customer and learn to speak their secret language, then you don't want to miss today's conversation with Jeff.
Jeffrey, thank you for the time today. I really appreciate you joining us. And I'm really interested to hear about your new book. Tell us a little bit about it.
Hey, thanks, Thor. I'm thrilled to be here. So, yeah, it's not only a new book, it's my first book.
Congratulations.
And, thanks. I'm really excited about it, too. You know, it's actually this. I feel like it's the story I was meant to tell. I mean, I've been in business for 33 years. I actually wrote an entirely different book all of last year. I spent a whole year writing a book and made the rookie mistake of writing a book and then getting an editor. And the editor I worked with for that book didn't think it was a particularly strong book for the platform for which I was trying to build, for which, I'm a business coach, and for who I coach in the world and I'm going into the speaking. It didn't seem like the right book. So I put it aside. And from that came, actually in conversation with who is now my editor, she wound up pulling out of me this story, this idea of how businesses connect with their customers via a secret language, and realizing this is how I've built my business. Every business I've ever been involved in, every person I've coached has been built on this idea of connecting deeply with your customers through a secret language. And here it is. It's been the story of my life for 33 years. And, as often is, the story that's in front of us is the hardest one to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we have clients, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was, she actually it was just telling her a casual story about my business life. She's like, that's the story that you need to tell. And those are the lessons that entrepreneurs need to hear. So I am very excited about it. So thank you for the acknowledgement of that.
So give us a sneak peek. I know it's coming out, but give us a sneak peek to it.
So, there were a few things as I started writing the book. What's important to me, and I'm sure it is to you as well, Thor, is always asking ourselves, like, why is this relevant now? Like, why is the work we're doing important now? And, and you're a speaker, and quite a good speaker. So, I'm sure that's another thing when you're getting hired to speak. That's one of the things the organizations want to know, right? They want to know, like, why should I hire you now? What's relevant about your topic? So as I'm writing this book, I was really asking myself, why is this relevant now? And there were a couple of things that really stood out to me as to why it's relevant now. One is that, in the world of marketing and branding, we've been hearing a lot about buyer personas and avatars. And I just think the world wants more than that now. Consumers today want us to know more about them than their demographics, their stats, and even their behavior. What I feel people are going to demand in business moving forward is that they feel like as the business that's going to serve them, that you really get them, that you have a deep understanding of who they are, much more than a surface level relationship of demographics. So I think it's really important in business moving forward that we up our game, that we take on the challenge to say, we're going to deeply understand the people that we're going to work with before we try to reach into their pockets. So I think that's what makes this relevant now. And the other thing is I think it's just an overall business shift from what I refer to as like customer service to customer centric. We've been very focused in the business world for quite some time now on customer service, giving the best customer service, blah, 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 blah. You know what? It's creating mediocrity. If everybody's good at customer service, then everything's just mediocre.
And most people are horrible at it.
Most people are horrible. So, but think about it, right, Thor? I mean, to really impress people nowadays. And again, I think the other reason why lingo as a concept in a book is important now is that, like I said, people expect more. If you meet people's expectations, they say nothing. But due to social media, look how quickly if you don't meet people's expectations, look how quickly bad news travels. Or bad reviews.
Oh, it's incredible. Matter of fact, I was joking on social media yesterday, the day before. There's this company called CenturyLink. It's a cable company out in the Midwest.
Sure, yeah.
I've never seen a company more hated than this company.
Oof,
it was horrible. They were jumping on. I'm like, thank you. I think I found my next customer.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have too many choices. Like I said, if you don't meet people's expectations, everybody's going to find out about it real quick. If you meet people's expectations, they say nothing. So the only thing that left to do is to blow people away, right? So, customer service, I don't think even scratches the surface of how we do that. I believe in what I call a customer-centric business, where, again, which is the whole overall concept of the book, before you build your business, or if your business is already built, but now you want to make it even more awesome, it's time to pause and instead really study and understand what is the secret language of your ideal customer. What makes them tick? What's going on inside their minds? What conversations are they having in their heads for which you have a solution for, that you can prompt that question out of them? It is getting to understand people on such a much more profound and deep level. Then when you understand who your ideal customer is, you develop and understand their secret language, then build a business for them that stands out like, the Magic King, what is the Cinderella's castle at Disney World or something? Like it stands out above everything else because you've built a brand that they get, like that your ideal customer gets above everything else. That to me is the future of business, is building this whole customer-centric model and really knowing who they are and building a business for your ideal customer.
All right, so I want to dig into this a little bit because and first of all, I agree with what you're saying. But I see so often businesses are moving in the opposite direction. Customer service is getting worse, and they're automating everything. They want AI to come in and basically just run things. I was looking at some information. An entrepreneur here in Atlanta is talking a lot about customer interaction bots, where you just kind of plug something in, and the AI basically responds back, hey, I think this is what you mean. Let me answer your question. And in working with especially young entrepreneurs, it is more and more about, look, I don't even want to get to know my customer. If they never call me, I don't even have a phone number anymore on my website, right? I don't want them to call me. I don't want to interact with them. I don't want to understand that. I want technology to take over. Yeah. That's certainly where kind of a wave is headed. I don't necessarily agree with that unless AI gets really, really good, is you've got to understand the customer. So are you a contrarian to where you think the market's going? Dig into that a little bit.
I'm never a contrarian to where the market's going because you know what? You can't stop a moving. You can't stop a moving train if you want to succeed.
But right? If everybody's doing a shitty job, handling the customers, you can do it. It takes a lot of work, but you can do one off and really get to know them.
So here's my feeling on it. First of all, underneath all that, we've seen a lot of technology changes, be it email or ATMs at banks. We've already seen a lot of shifting from what used to be personal experiences. But here's what I think is underneath it was important is I think at the end of the day, humans crave human interaction.
Yes.
Right. The bottom line is I don't need or care to have a relationship with a banker. I'm more than happy to walk up to a machine and get done what I need to get done. Why? So that I have more time to go home to my kids and spend time with them. Right. I think what technology allows us to do is to pick and choose where we want to put our deep connections. Right. So there are plenty of business functions or ways that I am in the world that I am perfectly happy to let technology take over. But there are also places where I want to know that I can have a good personal interaction. And I don't know. And I had a guest on my podcast, Creative Warriors, and I'm trying to rack my brain and think of what his name is, but I'm so into our conversation, it'll never come to me right now. but he, I interviewed him. His book was, I think, something like Fuzzy versus Technology. And it was basically, what is the blend? What is the future of humanity when it comes to technology? And will robots and bots just completely take over? And I think he had the best answer, which is spot on, which is what we're headed towards is technology for human assist. Like, the reality is there aren't going to be fully self-driving cars immediately. Where we're headed is, and we already have that. We already have driver assist cars. So there will be a lot more technology that will assist humans in doing other things. I think at the end of the day, a lot of what this does, I think what people really want is an improved quality of life. That is what peak performance is. Peak performance is getting done what you want to get done and having time left over to live a life.
Yes, or maybe not even doing it yourself, outsource it to somebody else.
Exactly.
Which I'm a big proponent of.
Right. So a big part of the technology is to be able to have this human assist. Hey, let technology assist us to get done what we can get done so that we can do things that are highest value. And often what is of highest value is having the time to have deeper communications and connections with people. So, and then there's the more old-fashioned view, if you will, is that there's always a silver lining, right? As everything heads in one direction, if everything becomes cold, impersonal, and robotic, then those that are in a more human touch business stand to gain even more because that becomes the unique experience.
What do you think those human touch businesses are going to be? What are they today, and what will they continue to be?
I think we can create human touch businesses out of, and this is, I think, one of things that I really try to be a proponent for and to talk about is understand humans are emotional buyers. Always have been, likely always will be. And, I've been a photographer for 33 years. That's how I started out 33 years ago as a 20-year-old being a portrait photographer for very affluent families. I photograph families and children on location. 8 years ago or so, that evolved into my business coaching, my speaking, and now being an author. I used to always say I was so grateful to be in a business like photography, which is very human oriented. I was always very grateful to be in that business because it's already an emotionally charged business. And I used to jokingly say, I'm glad I'm not in like the auto parts business. But that got me thinking one day. And it actually, I recall the old, I think it was Michelin commercials, the tire commercials. May have been Goodyear. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it was Michelin. That used to have that chubby little baby sitting in the center of the tire, and the tire was kind of spinning. I don't know if you remember these commercials.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And the tagline was, you have a lot riding on your tires. Now, this is what Lingo is all about. This is what the basis of my book is about emotional triggers. Like, that's a smart way to market auto tires, right? Because I don't care about tread count there's a lot of things I don't care about, but I've got 3 kids. And I tell you, when I was raising my kids, before we went on a long trip, the first thing I did is take that vehicle in for a tire check.
Yeah.
Right. I had a lot riding on my tires. So I think, there are some businesses that are very obviously human oriented. Service oriented businesses are obviously very human oriented. But I think there is room for a lot of different industries to look at the human experience, look at humor even, right? How much, think about the technology. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but there's a lot of technology that we interact with that has added a lot of humor to the technology, right? So, you end up on the wrong page or you do a wrong button. So it starts feeling a little bit like there's a little bit more of a human interaction. One of my, I think you might appreciate this. One of my favorite websites for gift buying is called Man Crates. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's great for men and women to check out. And I actually write about them a fair amount in my book because they're one of those brands that, everybody talks about Zappos and Apple, but this is a company people need to be talking about. It's mancrates.com, and it's gifts for men that come in wooden crates with a crowbar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you buy a theme. Like, I bought my son a Yankees themed crate for Christmas. And it comes in a wooden crate and there's all Yankee memorabilia inside of it, being a New Yorker originally. So it's got a baseball cap and a mug and peanuts and all this stuff. And it's in a wooden crate. And the best part, Thor, is for $10 more, you can have the wooden crate wrapped in duct tape. So now it's impossible to get into. It is the best experience. And I had I shopped with them so much, I had a promotional code to use, and I forgot to input it in as a checkout. So I called customer service, and I had the best personal interaction with that customer service. It was a man, which in itself was kind of surprising, right? So often it's, lovely women on customer service. No, this was a dude. This is a guy that was, hey man, how's your day rocking? Like, it was totally a man creates experience, even calling customer service.
Yeah.
Right. So, humanity is never going to go away. And I think that's so much a part of what I am out there promoting as a business coach and a speaker, and by the author of Lingo, is that humanity is not going away. And in fact, it is time for us to connect with people on a deeper level than we ever have before. People are craving it.
It's funny. You just made me think of something. Is I do most of my website work and so forth on GoDaddy, and every time I call them, it is so easy to work with them. If you've got a question, you're like, something happened to my email, they're like, okay, just take a moment. They'll spend a half hour on the phone with you. I don't think I would ever go anywhere else. American Express, when I'm thinking about charging something, I know that if something goes, sideways and the person that I'm doing this with doesn't cancel my subscription after 30 days or gives me a hard time, all I got to do is call American Express, and they're like, Mr. Conklin, we're going to take care of that. Not a problem.
Yeah, you mentioned GoDaddy. I love that because they are a great example. One of the things that I teach in Lingo a lot is about pricing psychology. So this is somewhat related just because it's numbers. It just, the way GoDaddy handles their phone number reminds me a lot of the psychology of pricing and the impact of how you do things. It's very interesting to me. They do not have an 800 number. It's like a 480 number or something.
Yes.
Right? That's how often I call too. But I love the fact they don't have an 800 number. Like, think about the psychological impact of that. Like, it doesn't feel generic. You feel like you're calling someone when you're actually spending it. It used to be you'd be spending it on your own dime. Nowadays, it doesn't even, it's not like we're paying for it. But it's an interesting impact when you're just calling somebody on a regular old phone number with a regular old area code. Yeah. Versus an 800 number. It changes the experience right up front and already starts feeling more human. Yeah. And I feel that way about pricing. Like, a lot of our pricing psychology is, what I say in the book is pricing creates perception. And how you price things and how they even look can completely change somebody's perception of your business.
It's interesting. I just realized, too, that GoDaddy in my phone is not GoDaddy. It's the guy that answers the phone, or answered the phone, I guess, at one point. I don't know if he was my account rep or whatever, but he's in my phone. And it says, Mr. Jones or whoever is at GoDaddy. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
Be on the lookout for part 2 of our conversation with Jeff, where he tells us how to discover your area of authority, as well as how to only work with your ideal customer. I'll see you guys on another edition of Peak Performers Podcast.